Hey guys, now that the weapon meta has finally settled and everyone got used to the changes in patch number 12, which was the big weapon patch, in this video we'll go over the best weapon combinations or loadouts in PUBG. It's one of the questions I get asked the most lately, and I'd like to share my point of view on the topic. Stick around and see what weapon combos you should be playing. So the question we're asking ourselves here is the following: which two weapons I need to carry to be good in every possible situation and secure a win? After playing the game for about 2,500–3,000 hours, I basically got a feeling for all the weapons and the general uses of those weapons. For this video, I came up with 5 rating categories that will help us determine pros and cons of each weapon class. We'll rate the weapon classes with grades to 1 to 5 in each category, 1 being completely useless to 5 being extremely good at the job. The categories are as follows: short range fights, that will be the fights between 0 and 30 meters. Medium range fights, 30 meters to 150 meters. Long range fights, that will be 150 meters plus. Keep in mind that in these 3 categories, we're assuming that we're fighting against mostly stationary targets. Effectiveness against moving targets, and effectiveness against cars. It's very hard to put PUBG weapon qualities into numbers, so please take this with a grain of salt. I've tried to generalize everything as much as possible, but the strength of a weapon can vary with squad size and various different factors. In this video, we will cover non-crate weapons, as you usually take crate weapon if it's an upgrade to your current weapon class. Additionally, we assume that the loot is very good and you can choose almost any weapon you want with all attachments. In normal games though, you cannot find every weapon, so their choices may vary. Okay, so now that we got this formal stuff out of the way, let's start with the sniper rifles. So taking a look at the Kar 98 and M24, we can see that they really shine on long range because one-shot potential is really critical on long range. Medium range is also pretty good for the sniper rifles, but I feel like they lack a bit of flexibility. As for short range and against cars, they're pretty much garbage. And against moving targets, you can get lucky shots, but the DPS is fairly low even if you hit all consecutive shots. But if we look at DMRs, their biggest strength is actually playing against moving targets. Even those targets that are really far away, they're probably the best choice against moving targets on range, closely followed by 5.56 ARs, which used to be the best before the big weapon patch. DMRs are still weak against cars, and it's pretty hard to shoot people out of cars with an SKS, for example, compared to an automatic weapon. So how do we rate the 5.56 guns now, which would be the M4, SCAR, and M16? I'd say they're pretty balanced all around. They do not really shine at anything, but against cars, they do really well, because auto fire is great versus cars, for pickoffs and for blowing cars up. The long range effectiveness is not what it used to be, because the damage scales really poorly with range, and it can take 6 to 7 hits to kill someone. An additional note, M16 is a bad gun in close range fights. You should really avoid using burst as much as possible. Okay, moving on to 7.62 AR, or just AK, we can see that it's really good on short range and versus cars. That gun just rips through cars and through players. If you're within 30 meters and you can use auto fire, it's insanely good. It's currently my favorite gun. It's really reliable, but it's completely useless on mid-range and the long range and against moving targets. 4x AK is a nightmare to use. You should avoid it at all costs. Carry something else for mid-range or long range. Alright, moving on to SMGs. Vector, Uzi, UMP. Obviously, their only use is close range fights. and they do really well. Movement speed buff and the DPS is great, but the damage and bullet travel time scales terribly with range, so you just don't use them anywhere else but up to 30-50 meters. Finally, shotguns. Well, as you can see, we don't have much to talk about. Shotguns do have huge potential, but they're very unreliable. So from now on, we won't even consider shotguns in the rest of the video due to obvious reasons. Okay, now that we've seen the ratings of individual classes, let's see what we get when we pair them up. We're going to use the same rating system, but we'll highlight the better grade out of the two for each combo, since you'll be using the weapon that is better suited for each situation. Let's start with the popular SR plus 556 AR combo that has been a staple since the game came out. So the main thing we're going to look at is the sum total of grades in all categories for each loadout. If we add these up for SR and 556 AR, we get 22. There's really no weak spot. This weapon combo works really well, but it gets a lot of 4s. It doesn't shine at short range nor medium range, and it could do better against moving targets. But if we look at DMR, the AR, things change a bit. We get a sum total of 23, and if we use an AK as the AR, then we get 24, which is 1 away from the maximum. Well, and why is that? Why do we get such a high rating for this one? Well, for the price of not having the long range one-shot potential of a Kar 98, we get rid of all the imperfections of a 556 AR. Let's now look at the new meta and a crowd favorite, DMR and SMG. Here we go. Short range, insane. Medium range, fabulous. Long range, pretty decent. Moving targets, phenomenal. Effectiveness against cars though, this is where this combo falls apart. Because the SMG nor DMR can really do anything against cars. If you're getting breached or someone's just passing by, you're probably not going to get any picks while they're driving, nor do any significant damage to the car itself. This is a big issue, and a reason why this combo isn't the best at the moment. Some people might think that this isn't really an issue, but I think it really is. Moving on to SR and AKM. Now, this is a greedy combo with one big weakness, and that is moving targets. AKM just doesn't deliver with a 4x on it. Bullets are really slow, and the drop is abysmal. And of course, Kar 98, it's a hit or miss. One more thing that I've noticed with this combo is that sometimes, somewhere in between short and medium range, there is a moment where you feel really uncomfortable single tapping with an AKM while it's still too close to use a Kar 98 effectively. So watch out for that when you're using this combo. Next in line is 556 AR with an AKM. Overall, it's a solid combo. It scores 21, same as the previous one, but it has a relatively weak long range. Overall, it's easy to find and relatively easy to play. Last one we're going to look at today is 556 AR and an SMG. And overall, they're basically the same. It's just that you use SMG on short range instead of an AK. It's more of a stylistic choice than anything else, or if you cannot find an AK and you just found an SMG, or vice versa, both work. So if you want to play SMG and it's part of your playstyle, I'd probably recommend this combo over DMR plus SMG in most cases, just because it doesn't have a huge hole like a DMR and SMG against cars. If you're playing squads, you might have the luxury to sneak in DMR plus SMG when your teammates have ARs. Honorable mention would be SR plus SMG, but it has two big issues: moving targets and cars. There's just no way to deal with those. So according to this ranking system, the best weapon combo is DMR plus 762 AR. My personal favorite would be SKS plus AKM. It's closely followed by DMR plus 556 AR and SR plus 556 AR. So these are the main combos you should be using in your gameplay. Before patch 12, SR plus 556AR reigns supreme with 5s in probably all the categories, since 556ARs were the top pick on all ranges. I think Bluehole have done a great job with that patch when it comes to weapon combination diversity, saying that there are multiple viable loadouts and a lot of weapons came back to life, primarily SKS. Alright, let me know what your top combo is in the comment section below. Also, let me know if you agree with this system or you disagree with this system, and if I've left something out. Don't hesitate to join us on Discord for more discussions on this topic. You can find the link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hold up.